think we're going. It's a thing for my streams that I always have to wonder if I'm actually live.
Gotcha.
And double check over here. This is this is normal. Everybody who watches my streams knows by now that there's just a period of time where I just am sitting here being confused for a moment.
Here we go.
Come on. Come on. Let me see if it's on.
You're live for me.
I have two monitors set. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Yeah, we are. Okay. Cool. There we go. Perfect. Okay. So, welcome to another Demarcation Media live stream. Today, we are going to be going through and looking at all of the entries for the Covenant Pop and Swap contest. And I'm joined by Kev, who I've mentioned before because he's been a channel member for a while and he does his own stuff. So, Kev, do you want to just give a quick rundown of who you are and what you do?
Sure. First of all, thank you for having me. So I'm Kev_MCX, or most people just call me Kev. I do mainly TikTok content and Instagram content on all things Mega Constructs. So yeah, just Halo stuff, COD stuff, all sorts of stuff, literally anything. But I'm really glad to be here today, and let's get to judging.
Yeah, I feel like there's only a few people in the short form Mega content world that like do content consistently.
Definitely. There's a couple of us out there, but I think there's a couple more people coming up, so it's cool to see.
Nice. Okay, so the very first entry, all the way at the top of the channel, is from Joey Chief Jojo, and he says it's a Spartan Hunter, and he's got like ODST bits on him. This is kind of cool because it's a Storm Elite. I think that was a blind bag figure, if I remember correctly.
I think you're right.
It was one of the colored series, but yeah, he's got the Halo Heroes Spartan arm, and then another shoulder, and then he's got dual swords, which is pretty cool. The vibe is pretty cool. There's not a ton that got changed on the figure, but it's a different look, and I'm kind of a sucker for asymmetry, so that kind of works for my personal design aesthetic.
For sure. I definitely think like it's like simple, but I think it's effective. Like the shoulder pads kind of give a story, in my opinion. Like you know, this guy hunts Spartans for a living and he's killed a couple. So I really think that this is pretty well executed for what it is. I definitely do like the dual colored swords as well.
Yeah. Honestly, for me, I'd say this, in terms of like cool factor, it's pretty high, and then creativity, I think it's decently up there. So I would say this one probably lands at a 6 for me, all things considered.
Right. I don't know if you noticed, but he does have a cybernetic arm.
Yeah, I think that's the Halo Heroes Series 12 Gungnir's arm.
Right. But I definitely put it just about where you put it, maybe a 7 for me.
Yeah, I was debating between the two. I was close to a 7. If I could do a 6.5, I would do a 6.5.
For sure.
Oh, Chonky Chief is in the chat. What's up, Chonky? Oh, Caden is asking if I played Helldivers. Yes, I actually did stream it, so that whole thing is up there and available to watch. Cool. So that's are you giving that one a 7? Is that your final ranking there?
Yeah, 7 for me.
Cool. I will pop that on there. The next one is from Agent Indiana. It's actually this is kind of, remember what I was saying about asymmetry? This is nice actually.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting mix of eras here.
For sure. looks like the newest blind bag elite helmet with, I think that's the chest plate and like legs from the new Ghost set from the.
It is, yes.
But yeah, I dig it.
Yeah, this is nice. This is very nice. Oh, there's a whole story as well. Covenant Bridge crew. He joined the Banished to try and get away from the elite traditions. And Locke apparently was the one that messed up his armor. Interesting. That's a lot of lore behind it. Lore aside, though, I honestly, this one, there's a lot of figures used to make this. Mm-hmm. Really nice use of parts. I feel like this one lands at an 8 for me.
8. I am inclined to agree. I really dig that it's not fully blue. I really like the addition of the silver feet. Mm-hmm. I really think that really ties it all together. But yeah, do you want to do like solid numbers, or can we do point numbers?
The only reason why I'm doing solid numbers is because I drop a reaction on the message, so I can look back later and go, oh, that's what we gave that one. Oh, that's what we gave that one. And then I collect the top. I think it'll probably be like the top 4 or 5, and then probably 5, so we won't have any ties. And then what we're gonna do is everybody will get to vote. Of the last 5, everybody on the channel will get to vote on a post I'll make after the stream, because there were some concerns with the judging the last time in terms of just selecting one. So the final winners, and there's 2, the final winners will be chosen that way. So that's why I'm doing solid numbers.
I gotcha. Well, with that being said, I think I'll give this one an 8.
Can I react twice to him? I can't react twice. Oh, there we go. Perfect.
Gotcha.
Okay. Every time, the next one is, I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be Rogue 42, but a lot of people accidentally do Rouge. Anyway, he's made an entirely, like, this is not a species that, or a version of the species that Mega has really worked with. It's one of those super soldier prophet guys using some Spartan pieces, some Call of Duty pieces, and some elite pieces. It's very different.
Oh, for sure. This one's pretty unique.
Yeah, like looks. I can see it. It makes sense. Like the shaping is pretty much spot on. I'm not sold on the helmet.
Yeah.
But the shaping is there.
Definitely. Like at first glance, like if you were to tell me that's what I was looking at without the picture next to it, I don't think I would be able to pinpoint it as that. Mm-hmm. But with the side-by-side, I can see where they're coming from, and definitely pretty creative parts used for what we have for a figure that Mega's never done. Mm-hmm. So I dig it. I think the only like needs work aspect of this figure is probably the helmet. Mm-hmm. But given what we have, I'm pretty sure there's nothing really that much closer than this. So I give them props for the execution.
Yeah, I can't think of off the top of my head something that I would use instead. But yeah, if I didn't have the reference picture, I might think this is a javelin from Anthem, because it also kind of has that vibe. But yeah, with the picture, for sure, I can see the similarities. Creativity wise, I would give this one a 7. I would say this is just very different.
For sure. Like I don't think we're gonna see anything else quite like in this field. Mm-hmm. I haven't looked at the submissions ahead of time, so I could be wrong. But at this point, I don't think we're gonna see anything quite like this.
Yeah, I don't think we are.
I think I'll give this one a 6.
Very solid, very solid. We've got good entries so far.
Oh, for sure.
Look at the chat real quick. Oh, Jacob and Ginger Hoffman are here. Alpha Squad Animations, Mantle X Animations, Spartan for Jesus, Battle Mex Plays. We got a lot of people here. Okay, the next one. Oh, also, just so you know, I forgot to mention this beforehand. The rules were none of the pieces could be cut, glued, or otherwise modified. So if we do come across one that has paintwork or something, it has to be passed.
Gotcha.
The next one is Awkward Gamer 77. Oh, interesting. So this is he's kind of... Oh, he's kind of just like his own thing. He just kind of... Okay. Oh, okay. He's with the arbiter. Interesting. So this is different. I don't know how that helmet is attached to his shoulder, but the spiky banished shoulders work well, and the brute helmet stuck to his shoulder is pretty cool. I don't see any glue, so I'm guessing it's just jammed on there.
I would be inclined to agree.
Wait, why is his groin armor is on backward though, and I don't know if that's intentional or not.
I mean, it works.
It kind of actually does look intentional now that I'm looking at it, because the spine on his armor kind of fits with it, and then it makes him look like he's got more armor on the front. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Huh. That's if that was purposeful, that was a very nice touch.
Definitely.
If it wasn't, then it was a happy accident. I think this one lands at a 6 for me.
I think the only thing that kind of throws me off, and this is not this person's fault, but the color of the shoulder pads doesn't really mesh well with the red going on, in my opinion. But that's not their fault. But I think overall this is a pretty unique entry. I don't even know how to explain how they put the brute helmet on the shoulder pad, but I really do appreciate that detail. I think I'll land at a 6 with this one as well.
Nice. Yeah, I can definitely see if there was a little bit more silver elsewhere on the figure, then it would balance with the red a little better. But yeah, there's a lot of red and a little bit of silver, so it's a little jarring.
Definitely.
Look at the chat. Alpha Squad Animations is playing Call of Duty. Oh, he's doing both. Nice. Leland H. Oh, it's your mom's birthday. Well, tell her happy birthday. Hayden Silas, welcome. Cassie Customs, welcome. The next entry is from Unordinary Artist. There is no name or lore for this particular figure. It is just an elite, and he looks kind of like an elite heavy of some sort. He's got some red shoulders and red thigh plates that are actually brute pieces, and then he's got the red weapons. Not a ton going on. I do like the colors, and with the red weapons it looks nice, but I think if the red weapons were removed, the balancing might be a bit off.
Yeah. I feel like maybe like what you said with the red weapons removed, it seems a little off on the balance on the armor. I feel like if anything, the helmet should be red. But with that being said, I do appreciate like the parts usage here. Yeah. Well, what are you thinking?
I'm honestly feeling like it lands like smack in the middle for me. It's a 5. It's good, and it looks solid with the weapons. Without the weapons, yeah, it would look a little off. And it's not like an outstanding entry, but I would say it's a very solid entry.
For sure. I definitely think that this person definitely put the thought into it. I
Mm-hmm.
think the execution could be a little bit better, but honestly, that's a little bit nitpicky.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be inclined to agree with you. Probably a 5. I feel like this is very smack dab in the middle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hey, Renard is in the chat. Oh, and Muto's here. Oh, Who the Cares has the next entry. It's the Shipmaster, and this is one that I saw before, and I'm having a hard time telling what exactly all was done. I know the chest plate was swapped.
Right.
Because I honestly didn't... Apparently that was something that really frustrated a lot of people, was the chest plate choice for the actual figure. I honestly didn't notice. But I guess people were not happy about that. So he swapped the chest plate, but I don't know what else was swapped, to be honest.
I think that's it. Let me see if I can pull up a picture of what he looks like normally.
Maybe the lower legs were swapped, but I don't think so.
I think that it's just the chest plate.
Yeah, which it looks great. Oh, hey, Multiversal is in the chat. Yeah, it looks great, but in terms of creativity put into it, it's low on the creativity side. It's a nice upgrade.
For sure. I wouldn't really classify this as it is a pop and swap because they did pop and swap, but I feel like this is more done so just to give it a more game accurate look. Like there's not much creativity going on there.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely think it looks good. But in terms for the competition, I would probably give it probably like a 4.
That's honestly exactly what I was thinking. I was landing right on the 4 mark. Just lower points for the creativity level. This is like, it's a good thing for people to keep in mind if they want to upgrade the figure, but it's not a necessarily super original thing. The next one comes from, I don't even know how to say that. Suya? I don't know. People can read it. They can see it. This is an elite that was recruited, I guess, from the Covenant into the UNSC and fitted with more human gear, which is a cool idea. And honestly, this looks kind of slick.
I was gonna say I kind of dig the color scheme and like the look of it.
Tactical elite. Who knew that could be a thing? This is gonna sound kind of nitpicky, but the first thing that I noticed seeing this straight on image is that one of the shoulder armors is on upside down. I don't think that was purposeful. I won't knock points for it, but it does look a little strange.
Are the thigh pieces backwards?
No, I don't think so, because those are Marine thigh pieces, actually.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's a little strange seeing an elite with them, because usually the elite armor sticks out more.
Right.
But yeah, that's like the like Battle for the Ark Marine thigh armor, I think.
Gotcha. But honestly, I kind of dig it. It kind of like invokes like a kind of, what is it called? Like what is that? All right, give me 1 second.
Buffering. The use of the Mickey pack is nice too.
For sure. What I was trying to say is it kind of invokes like a sort of like Halo what if situation.
Oh yeah.
Kind of like, oh, what if the Covenant was the UNSC, and maybe like vice versa, the UNSC was a Covenant in terms of like gear.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely really, really like the color scheme going on, the use of parts. I really like the little ammo band on the foot.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably give this an 8.
Yeah, I think I'm in the same boat. I don't necessarily want to go higher than that because it is kind of floating on the edge of the rules here.
Right.
Like they do have the lore of how it, you know, how this guy went from being kind of Covenant to what we see here. But yeah, it's very close to the edge of the rules for this competition.
For sure.
Oh, the next one is Chonky Chief's entry. He's not. Last time he created some horrifying. I don't even know what to call it. He created some horror. This though is actually really interesting. This looks like it's using the Halo 5 Arbiter's arm,
Right.
the elite warlord from the Scorpion's head and other arm, and then he's got that. Is that the elite general from what set is that from? Is that from the Spirit?
I am not sure.
I'm not sure either. I know he's the most expensive one. But honestly, like right away, another 8 for me. It's extremely solid, and the gold looks fantastic.
For sure. I mean, I agree with you, like, completely. Like, I like the accents on the armor, like the reddish accents. It really ties it all together, and I think the parts usage is pretty great too.
Yeah.
I'm just using it from different eras of like the Covenant and stuff like that. I definitely think it's an 8.
Also, the use of the purple sword is a nice touch to go with the purplish accents.
For sure.
Let me check the chat real quick. Let's see. Green Elite is a good blind bag figure. Yes, that was the anniversary blind bags. Nice. Chonky is saying he can make a curse one. No, we can pass on that. Enforcer 0. Oh, you got your multiplayer mayhem. Mine is actually here. Well, not here. It's at my parents' house, which means I have to go and get it. I don't have it with me. And I'm like, oh, I've been waiting so long. I just want to have it in hand.
Yeah. I think mine is, I think the last time I checked it was still in Pennsylvania. But I think it should be here early Monday.
Nice. Once they actually get the package moving, it's been really quick.
Right.
Okay, so this is another kind of UNSC type. It's like after the Human Covenant War, they're doing joint fire team sort of a thing, which is an interesting idea. Also, that all red Mark 7 and the all red Mark 7 Anubis look very cool. Too bad it's not Spartans. Also, I guess this is a female elite.
Right.
The general look, I'm not sure what's happening in one of those photos. That's a little bit questionable.
Yeah.
The parts usage here is really cool. Spartan pieces, elite pieces, Call of Duty pieces, and that's actually a fallen captain that was used for the forearms, I think. If I'm not mistaken.
Destiny?
Yeah, I think it's. I think those are the Destiny hands.
Right.
Again, very, very close to the edge of the rules.
For sure.
Creativity, though, is there. But this one is like a... This is not just the elite is using the human stuff. This is like, the elite is actually actively with the humans now.
Right.
That being said, I think I would still give it a 7 because I do like the parts usage. Although I think I'm not sold on the lack of a helmet.
Yes, I was gonna say the exact same thing. Like everything, like from the head down, looks almost like perfect to me. The only thing that really throws it off for me is the lack of anything on the head. It just kind of looks bald.
Yeah. And also that's a headshot waiting to happen. Like all the rest of the power armor doesn't matter if that one shot lands.
Definitely. But honestly, I do really like the parts usage. I like the scarf, the COD scarf. the chest plate and then the addition of the knee pads. I really dig it all. But like we said, the helmet not being present is kind of a throw off for me. So I think I would be inclined to agree with your 7.
Nice. The Goober Trooper is next with the. Apparently, there was a single frame from one of my shorts that has now become a meme, and it's that's the profile picture. This is different. A brute, and he's got like he uses energy weapons, I guess. We've got some Darth Maul kind of action going, and he's got the gold bits. This is very different. This is very different.
Sure. I really dig the dual bladed energy sword staff weapon. I think that's really nice. What this figure kind of gives me vibes of is Thanos. I think that's kind of what they were going for.
Oh, maybe? Yes. That's why he's got the... Oh, I don't know why you didn't catch that. Yeah, that's totally what it's supposed to be. He's got the gauntlet and everything.
But yeah.
Oh, and he's even... Yeah, he's lifting the Green Recon like he did to Hulk. Yep, that's 100% supposed to be Thanos. That's actually pretty funny. That's actually pretty good. That's an 8 from me.
I would be inclined to give it an 8 as well. If it wasn't Thanos, like if this wasn't what it was going for, it kind of strikes me as something that we might see in like the new Halo show, because this kind of gives me not quite Halo vibes, which is kind of what the Halo show gives me. Not quite Halo, but kind of Halo. So this is definitely something I could see, like if it wasn't blatantly Thanos, like something to show up in like the Halo show.
Yeah, the energy weapons is a bit unbrute-like, but I feel like it works for this particular instance, and that's also a good use of some of the gold pieces. I don't see that get used very much.
For sure.
Very, very nice. Very, very nice. Also, I just realized that last image is Captain America versus Thanos, and he's got the energy shield and everything. That's
huge props for creativity on this one.
That's pretty clever. We have, so this is from Duckboy00963. And this is a Jackal super soldier. So it's an elite with some Jackal parts. Interesting. I'm not sure what a Jackal super soldier, like, that might be kind of terrifying. They don't seem smart enough to have that level of operation. But that being said, at first glance, it doesn't look like a ton is going on with this. But then I think that's Spartan shoulders. He's using the Jackal head, the forearm pieces, and the feet. And then I think that's Gek's body.
I think you could be right. The lighting makes it a little hard to tell, but I think you might be right.
Yeah, I can't quite tell if that's actually the printed pieces or just the light. It's an interesting idea.
For sure. I like the way that it looks. It's definitely... The only thing that kind of throws me off about it is it looks really bulky in the body, and then the head is just kind of a chicken.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, there's a reason why the Jackals come with those small torsos. Unless we're to assume this is like fully power armor, like almost an exosuit.
I can almost see this like maybe being like a Jackal like shipmaster, maybe. So that would kind of explain why Jackal's got so much bulk on there. But I think in terms of like parts usage, I think the colors are kind of they strike me as a little bit flat, a little bit. But honestly, I appreciate the parts usage. I think it lands at like a 6 for me.
I landed at a 7.
Okay.
That's where I landed. So I'd say that's a good it's a good ranking there. The next one comes from PJ, and they made a Covenant Gladiator. Oh my gosh, that Brute Chieftain is obliterated on the side. This is interesting, though. This is like, I don't know, the Covenant get bored and they just have gladiator fights.
Right.
It's using the buff Atriox body. I don't know what that shield is, though.
I really can't tell.
I can't tell
either. It kind of just
either.
looks like the lid of a trash can, but I can't really see like any details on the front, if there's any. But it doesn't strike me as a piece that we see very often.
Yeah, I don't even know if that is a mega piece. Maybe it is. Maybe it's an old piece. I don't know. The mismatched look kind of is, I get the idea that they were going for, but I'm not sure that it worked the way they wanted it to. The legs specifically is kind of I don't know. It's like it's not, it doesn't quite work for me.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of colors going on, but there's not enough of any color, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like we got the red, and then we have a little bit of red on the dark, but not much. And then we have silver and more silver, and then the light gray, and then the dark gray, and it's a bit on the much side, for what it is.
Definitely. Like, I get what they're going for, but I feel like it's very loud. Or busy. I think busy is a better word. But it does give me Kratos vibes from God of War. But with all of that being said, I think this kind of lands at like a 4 or a 5 for me.
Yeah, I was thinking of 5 purely because like while the colors don't quite work, I do see their thought process, and it is an interesting idea. The execution just could have been a little better.
Yeah. Alrighty.
The next one comes from Professional Profit Puncher. And this is very interesting because it's using an old articulation elite head. It's using the Gek figures. Most of the body is the Gek body, and then the shoulder armor and the lower legs are from the new elite.
He looks menacing. I'll give it that.
He does look menacing.
I really do like the use of that old articulation head. Usually whenever I see pop and swaps using older articulation parts, they kind of stand out. But in this case, it kind of works well with the rest of the body. So I really like that. It kind of gives me vibes of the elites from the new show. A little bit in the head. But I really like it. I like the colors. What are you thinking for the rating?
So the only thing here that I'm not digging is the fact that all the blues are different. And I think in these pictures it's not showing up that much, but I know in person the difference between the head and the body and then the parts from the blind bag elite would be very noticeable. I don't know if that would look good or not. It's kind of hard to tell. But using the old articulation head was a good use of parts that we don't see. So I feel like I landed a 7.
Yeah, I'm inclined to meet you right there at a 7. I do think that if the colors matched a little bit more, it would be a little bit higher on the list. But given like what we have and what they had to work with, I think this is executed pretty well. Mm-hmm. So I agree with your 7.
Oh, somebody just said in the chat the shield from the previous entry is one of the turret Warthog turret bases.
Look at it again. Oh, okay, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, now that they said that, I'm like, oh, duh. Like, yeah. MCX Production says, I'm sorry, Demarcation, there wasn't a consistent blue. I mean, yeah, that's just kind of, it's just a hazard of using those parts because the old articulation colors are different from the new colors. So it's like, it's just, it kind of can't be helped.
Right.
Let's see, the next one is from Ephraim 223. American Elite. My first thought was red versus blue Elite because that's very much what's going on here.
Right.
Oh, I like the use of the Jackal armor used as like a almost a blade.
Mm-hmm.
He's also got a backpack that looks custom made. It's very interesting. I honestly don't know how I feel about this.
So what this screams out to me is, I don't know if you've seen the HCS like winter coating, kind of like the Colgate Spartan that we got. It's giving me that kind of vibe.
Yeah, a bit.
I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm being honest with you.
Somebody asked if that's a Lego piece on the backpack. It does look like a Lego piece, but I'm not also necessarily opposed to the mixing of parts, at least in a backpack like that.
Right. As long as it's not like a main point on the figure, like a straight up like a minifigure arm on like a MCX body, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah. So I don't know. I feel like this one is a 6 from me. I think it's... Oh, what the heck? Everybody reacted. Hang on. I need to remove the reactions so we can actually rate this thing. I'm doing a 6 because I think it's a clever idea and I like the use of parts. But I don't want to put it higher because I'm too... Like, the colors confuse me a bit.
Yeah. Like, looking straight onto it, it's hard to see anything else other than the body and the head, because it kind of gets lost. Like the arms and the legs kind of get lost in the background for me.
Yeah, a little.
So I would be inclined to give it like a 5 or a 6 as well.
Yeah. Synapse Studio says, is that me laying on the floor in the last picture? If that Spartan is you, then yes, it is. The next one comes from NATO, who is one of the admins here. This is very different. This is a female Sangheli, and this is again using an old articulation head. Masters of the Universe torso and waist, and then Call of Duty arms. That's interesting. And the purple seems to match almost spot on, which is odd.
Yeah. I like it. Let me read the history really quick.
It's well done. It's very well done. I think the use of parts from other IPs, like the primary base of this figure is not Halo.
Right.
But it works really well. Now, it's for like my own, what I think of as like, oh, that's a really cool figure. It doesn't quite fit my own personal taste, but I think the creativity here shoots this up to a 9 for me.
Okay. I was going to say like an 8. I really like the look of it for me. Mm-hmm. It gives me like old like knights kind of vibes. Mm-hmm. And it kind of like invokes like maybe like pre-covenant, like before the elites join the covenant. Mm-hmm. It's kind of giving me that old like elite armor kind of vibe. So I really like it. I really appreciate how all the colors match. Yeah, it's very hard to do that, especially with like older pieces, and pieces
Yeah, and
from
that's
different.
the chest and the waist is Masters of the Universe, and then the thighs are from a purple brute, and then that's the old purple head. So that's a 3 different spots where the purple could go way off, but it doesn't look way off. It all fits together.
For sure.
The next one comes from Echo, and this looks like primarily using one of the Shipmaster figures. He's got, I think that's a Lego cape. It looks like a Gandalf cape. Somebody in the chat could tell me if it's not. Oh, Danixie's asking if I tried dyeing the LS3D prints. I have not tried dyeing them yet. It's my list of videos to make is quite large, which is why I haven't gotten to it yet. But it will be done. Don't worry. The shoulder is from a Spartan, I think. I want to see that other arm. I can't see that other arm. It looks like it's using different pieces.
Yeah, I think it looks like a different color. I can't really tell though.
I can't really tell either. I do like the idea of this figure. I like I like the whole asymmetrical with the cape look. And all that. The use of parts, though, there's not a whole ton that was done with it, though. There was a few things swapped on the arms. And that's about it. So I feel like for me, this lands at like a 4. Because there's like not a ton happened here.
Yeah, I am inclined to agree with you. This is like the second Shipmaster like pop and swap that we've seen. So I think this one is definitely a little bit of a step above the previous one that we saw. There's a little bit more going on there, which I appreciate. I do really like the addition of the cape. It's really doing it for me. So I'm inclined to give it a 5. I think this is very smack dab in the middle for me.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like if this had the swapped chest plate as well, I would bump to a 5.
Right.
It's just since the straight middle is basically just the Shipmaster right out of the box, that keeps it at 4 for me.
I gotcha. Yeah.
Void Tear is he just made a Chieftain, just a Groot Chieftain, and it looks pretty good. It makes me think of the Chieftain from the NMPD Airbase set, like what he might look like if he were in New Articulation.
For sure. It's given me that vibe. What was I gonna say? Yeah. Do you know what's different on this figure? Because nothing like screams out to me that it's different. So that could be a good thing. That it all matches, in my opinion. But I don't really know if there's anything.
Yeah, well, he actually gives a breakdown here. So basically, it looks like he used Ichnovis as the base. Then he did the shoulders, and like basically the arms and the thighs are from the Decimus Hail Heroes figure, and then the waist unit is from the Gungoose Gambit Brute Captain.
Okay.
So there's actually a fair amount of popping and swapping did go on there.
For sure.
It's 3 different figures. But yeah, it all meshes so well together. When I first saw this, I did kind of have to give a quick double take of like, wait, did anything change?
Right.
But yeah, I feel like this one is a 7 for me because it looks really good. You do kind of have to do that double take of like, oh, is this a base figure or not?
Right.
And also, we just kind of don't have a Chieftain like this in New Articulation form, like based on the older ones and not from Infinite.
Definitely. I agree with you with the 7. Like we mentioned before, like it doesn't really scream out to me that anything's different, which is kind of a good thing. Because it just fits into what we would expect from a Brute Chieftain, which is nice. Yeah. But also, like, I feel like it also makes it feel like there wasn't that much done. So in terms of like creativity, there's not too much going on there. But honestly, for the overall look of the figure, I give it a 7 as well.
Nice. The next one comes from Sierra 117 MTK. So he says, former field commander who was left behind. Now he's an outcast. Okay, now there's a better picture. Interesting. So it's the ultra with some blue and then the extra red on the shoulder. The addition of the blue is nice.
Right.
The addition of the red I'm not sold on, because the red is also crossed by white, which the figure does not have white. So it's an introduction of some extra colors, which I think that was kind of the point where it's supposed to stand out, but at the same time, I don't know that it works 100%. Like, it's almost there. Something about it just feels a little bit off to me.
Yeah, I think I agree with you with the white. The white really like pops in not like a good way because it's kind of the only white on the figure.
Yeah.
But I do like the addition of the blue and kind of the skewed asymmetrical look of the blue shoulder with the red shoulder plate. I think the only thing holding this back, like we said, is that white on the shoulder pad is really kind of throwing it off for me. So I think in terms of like a ranking, it probably lands at like a 6 for me.
Nice. Yeah, I was at a 5. That's where I'm landing on this one.
Okay.
Nice. The next one is from Dingledarn, and he's basically created us a little stop motion here. It's interesting. So we have almost like a Jaga figure. Oh, gore. Might have to demonetize the video now. It's using the Jaga body. Wait,
yeah.
Hey, I just need to see like a clear. There we go at the end. He's using a Jaga body and some silver pieces to add accents, which is nice. He swapped the arm to a non-robotic one, which is also nice. This purple sword, everybody likes using the purple sword, apparently. And I guess this guy's just so confident in his abilities that he doesn't feel the need to wear a helmet. I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. I just wish that Mega would give us a printed Elite head.
Yeah.
I feel like if it was printed, it probably wouldn't look as jarring to me. But the way that it is, like, right now, it just seems just really off without a helmet for me.
Yeah. It's a little strange.
Yeah. I do appreciate all the parts on there. I really like the Jaeger armor pieces. I like the brute. I think that's a brute shoulder pad.
It is, yeah.
People look going on. I think the only thing that really throws it off for me again is like the lack of a helmet. So I'd probably give it a 6.
That's actually exactly where I was at. Also, just a quick note of like that Marine that he's got there, in the first one. Very cool little pop and swap using, I think that's Kinsano's shoulders.
Right.
Very nice little mix. But yeah, I'm on board with the 6. Chonky Chief said purple sword is cool. Pretty much explains it. True. I have a pink one, an old pink one, and that one is honestly a little better.
Pink.
The Master of Fear says, gotta be pretty confident not to wear a helmet. That's an easy way to get your headshot. Yeah, exactly. Then we have a Lights of Sanghelios from the DM fan. He's former, and he, I guess, allied with the UNSC. The extra silver is not working for me. I do like the dark shoulder. I think that's cool. But I think the silver and the white makes it just look like some off-white. And I don't know about that.
Yeah, I agree with you. I like the shoulder pads. But yeah, the silver's really not doing it for me. And it looks like the shoulder pads and the thigh pieces are the only pieces that they swapped out, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that would appear to be the case. So this, I would say, lands at a 4 for me. Like, Interesting idea. It looks a little strange that there wasn't a ton that happened, so lands at a 4.
I agree.
What is happening in the chat? Everybody's being very chaotic. Hydra Fire did Infinite Red Elite Major with a classic Honor Guard torso. Interesting. So he does look a little banished, but at the same time, there were red colored armored elites in the Covenant, so I think that's fine. The scrap cannon makes it look banished. Also, the addition of the spanker, like an elite with a rocket launcher, is a bit terrifying. I guess that's what the rocket flood were, to a degree.
Right.
So I kind of like that. Also, I'm just kind of a sucker for the red and silver paired this way on an elite. I feel like I see it a lot on brutes, but not a lot on elites. And so this, to me, just looks aesthetically really nice. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I really like it. The silver accent pieces from, I think that's the Arbiter's West Arbiter?
No, that's the Versus Pack one.
Versus Pack. Right. But yeah, I really like the way that they stand out on this figure. I really like just like the whole vibe of the figure. I really like. I like the addition of the old Honor Guard torso. I think that works really well with like the black accents of the bodysuit.
Yeah.
I think this one's an 8 for me.
Nice. I was honestly in that range, and then I realized as I was saying it's the Versus Pack Arbiter pieces. That means the back of that is purple, which is an extra bit of purple that doesn't blend with the figure, which for me puts it to a 7. Everything else looks fantastic.
Agree.
Arbiter shoulders looks good. Leland H said, "My whole life feels like a lie knowing that you sit on your knees at your review desk." I have always done that. Since I started making reviews, I have always been crouched down to reach my desk. That's just, it's been a thing since the beginning of the channel. The next one comes from Mocha Lavender, and we have another Chieftain. This is actually interesting. I thought when I first saw this entry come in, this was cool because they got a Brute Chieftain from the Anniversary Blind Bags with a poorly molded head, or the helmet, so that the face mask isn't complete. But instead of being upset about it, they just used it for this pop and swap, and it looks really cool. It actually looks really cool.
I did not even notice that, and now that you say it, that does look really cool. It almost looked like it looks intentional, which I really appreciate.
It does. I almost disqualified it at first. When I first saw it, I was like, oh, they modded the helmet. And then I read it, and I was like, oh, wait. Now that they mentioned that, I do see the spot where basically there wasn't enough plastic in the molds.
Right.
And purple and gold, not a mix we see very often in Halo, I feel like in this particular way. Honestly, yeah, this gets an 8 from me, I would say.
I would be right there with you. I really appreciate the use of the misprinted part. I think that's like a perfect creative use for something that most would see as like an unfortunate situation. I really appreciate how they made it work, and I really dig the color scheme. It gives me a Lakers vibe.
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it a lot. So yeah, an 8.
Honestly, I feel like the only thing keeping me from bumping this up to a 9 is how the really thick Banished thigh armor doesn't fully blend with the lower legs.
Right.
It gives him almost like he's wearing shorts look because of how bulky it is. That's the only reason I would say that it doesn't quite get to a 9 for me.
Yeah.
Also, props for all the poses, because that's pretty good.
Yeah, I especially like him holding up the Spartan with the skull. I like that a lot.
Yeah, very dead Spartan. Let's see. The next one comes from Overseer 87. He's known as Death's Hand. Oh, he's an ally of Yap Yap. Interesting. So I guess, would that make him part of the Banished or not? So this is very different looking. This is he's the translucent arm is giving me Jack 14 vibes. I don't know if that's a good thing in this case or not. I like what's going on. However, as much as I like the asymmetry, I think there's too much asymmetry because, like, I would like one arm to be different color-wise and not the other one. Or if there's gray, I'd need some gray on the legs as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of my thinking here.
Yeah. For me, it's really hard to tell kind of what color this elite is.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a purple one. I think that's what that is.
Okay. I think the only thing I really like the green energy swords. That looks really sick. The only thing throwing me off is the like trans green arm. I don't really know if that entirely works in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
But like at first glance, like it works, but like the longer that I look at it, the more I kind of question if it actually works or not.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this one kind of sits at a 6 for me.
Yeah, I think I would land at a 5.
Okay.
I have this a little bit of a thing for like having one translucent arm. I think that's cool, but it has to kind of have a reason, and I don't know the reason. There's not really a reason here, so yeah,
Right.
it kind of lands in the middle. Chonky said, "Why does this chat have a collective 2 brain cells fighting for 3rd place? What? What is happening?" I don't even. Arbiter Productions has made a Silent Shadow figure. Okay. I'd say that's pretty effective. Also,
I like it.
The SPI pop and swap there as well.
I really like this figure. I really like it. The gray and the black really do it for me. It almost strikes me like it's done so well, in my opinion, that it almost looks like an official Mega figure.
Yeah.
But I really do like the blend of the black and the dark gray. I think that really works well, and then the red energy sword kind of ties it all together. In terms of pieces, I don't really know what swaps, if you could speak on that.
So the lower legs are swapped. I think those are Jaga's lower legs, at least the like foot area. And then he swapped the forearms. The forearms are Spartan forearms.
Okay.
And I think that's the extent of the swapping. So a little light on the actual swaps, but it was effective. Like the swapping was effective. So creativity-wise, I would say there's not a ton being done, but at the same time, it is very effective, and clearly Arbiter Productions had a goal in mind here.
Right.
So I think this one's a 7 for me because Arbiter had a goal in mind and achieved the goal very handily with what the parts that Mega has given us.
I think I'll give it an 8 just purely because the look is so striking for me. And the way that he was able to do it with like such minimal amount of swaps, I can really appreciate like working with what you got and making like a product that speaks very well to what it's aiming to be. So I think it's an 8 for me.
Yeah. The next one is Reginoid Fingleton. It's kind of a banished figure. So, I mean, we've got the lore behind it that says that it was He was a part of the Covenant originally. Using Eshram's head, which is interesting. The swapping happening looks like the legs came from one figure. We got asymmetry going on. Colors overall blend together pretty well, I would say. The helmet looks like it's... I don't know if it's crooked just because that's how it is, or if the helmet doesn't actually fit on that head. I'm not totally sure. But, I mean, it looks good. It looks very Banished.
For sure.
But it looks good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I would say I really like the addition of like the printed head. I think that really makes the figure pop in that area. I also do like the addition of the printed weapons.
Yeah.
I think that really ties the whole figure together. Overall, I think the look is there. I don't know though, because like you said, like it's more Banished, so I'm not really sure where I land.
I feel like I'm landing at a 6 because it flows well. The thought behind it went well, but it's not quite Covenant.
Right. Yeah. I think like for what it's aiming to be, it's doing it pretty well. Pretty well being kind of an understatement. I think it's like good, like great. But in terms of like Covenant, like it doesn't really scream Covenant to me. So I would probably land at like a 6 as well.
Nice. The next one comes from I Need Tappy. He's a Ranger Elite. This actually works better than I was expecting. He's got the like Destiny shoulder pads that were recolored for the Brutes. He's got that Ultra's main body, and then he has those Ranger pieces. I was expecting not to like this mix, to be honest. I thought that the color mixing was going to be too sporadic, but I don't know. It's kind of working.
Yeah. For me, I don't really know either. Yeah. It's interesting. Like I like the mix of colors. I think that's done pretty well. Like it doesn't scream like it doesn't match or anything like that. But I don't know if I personally like the color choice.
Yeah.
But I do like the overall look, aside from the colors. Also, side note, I feel like this helmet would be a pretty good fit for that Anshayum like Spartan figure that we saw a little bit.
Oh, like, that's a good point, actually. Yeah, that would it would give the curved neck too.
For sure. But back to the figure that we're actually talking about, I think this one is probably like a 6 for me.
I was landing at a 7 because it's a good mashup of figures. My brain, is not so sure about what it thinks on the colors itself, but I think the mix was done well. This next one comes from Amalon Kool-Aid, and this one is another guy with the glowy arm, but this one kind of has a bit of a lore behind it. It's like he lost his arm, and they just made a whole energy sword and made an arm, which is kind of a cool idea. I have to say, though, using the translucent shoulder on the other side kind of throws the things off. And also, why doesn't he have chest armor?
Yeah, that's kind of like the first thing that I noticed. It makes his head look really big.
It does. And that's the Zealot helmet, which is a very bulky elite helmet. So I like the idea of that energy arm, but the look isn't quite there for me, and I think this one lands at a 4. It just, the asymmetry and also the missing chest plate doesn't quite jive.
Yeah. I agree with you. I feel like the thought behind it was there, Like
Mm-hmm.
that very first picture makes him look kind of menacing, but the rest of the
Mm-hmm.
pictures where you can see that he blatantly doesn't have a chest piece and that his head is huge,
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of throws off the figure for me. I think that the idea was there. I think the execution could be a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Next one is Diesel Dog. This is, I can't see anything in that picture, but this is cool because it's a mix of Halo and Destiny parts. We've got some Guardian parts. We got the big cape, and this time I think the cape works better. And we got the red and silver. Um, yeah, that's it's it's giving me like if an elite was in Game of Thrones, this is what the elite would look like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's making me think.
I don't know if you've seen the Halo Legends like shorts, like the animated ones.
Mm-hmm. I did a
Um,
long time ago.
but this kind of gives me the vibe of like the duel between the arbiter and I think it was another elite.
Oh
But
yeah, yeah, the very Japanese style one.
yeah, so it's giving me that vibe, and I really like it. The cape really does it for me. It fits pretty well. Like you wouldn't think it would fit well on an elite, but I really like it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the mix between the Destiny parts and then the elite parts, I think, are really good. And then the colors are done pretty well. Like they
Mm-hmm.
don't scream out as like, oh, this doesn't match. So I think this one lands at like an 8 for me.
Honestly, I think I would go all the way to a 9 with this one because it not only looks good, but the creativity behind it
Right.
was also um, really well. Everybody's saying in the chat, custom painted. It's not custom painted, guys. The elites in the background are, but that shoulders from the brute. Wait, actually, hang on. Let me look at the. Oh, well, this might be a problem. I think that the feet are actually custom painted.
Okay.
Because that's. Hang on. I don't know. Yeah, the feet look like they have custom paint to get that extra dark gray detail.
Like on the toes?
Yeah. I don't
Okay.
know that that's. Oh. Maybe we'll get the people in the chat to weigh in here. Everybody who's watching, put in the chat whether you think this should be allowed or not. It's a very small amount, but it is there. And I cannot for the life of me think of a figure that actually has that on there. And there are custom painted elites in the background.
Right.
So I'm gonna mark that one with the red no symbol for now. UN is in the chat saying that it is painted. So we have a couple people saying no, one person saying yes. Okay, so I think as much as I like this one, it does break that rule, which I almost missed. But yeah, the feet are custom painted, which means I have to not let it continue on, which is a bummer because this was really well done.
For sure.
We have two people saying, oh wait, Cassie Custom says, I think the cape is painted too. Well, that's possible. I don't remember off the top of my head if an all red Destiny cape was a thing or not.
Right.
It might have been because of the red Fallen Captain, but yeah, the paint. Yeah, that's really sad. That's very sad actually. So that one has to be let slid, which like it's unfortunate, but yeah, if too many things slip by, then people can just start customizing and painting and whatnot. The next one comes from it looks like Shadow without the O. This is another very very chonky Jackal. This is even chonkier than the last Jackal. He's got a hunter's shield, for crying out loud. Like, Although, I think I have to say the over-the-top chonkiness here is working in the Jackal's favor, because now it really does look like his head is sticking out of power armor. So it looks less awkward to me. Wait a minute, what? Why is there... His backplate has no hole in it.
Yeah,
What?
that is interesting.
I'm confused about that. Did he edit that out?
Possible. Let me get a closer look at it.
I can't quite tell. Chonky Chief says it's his brother. Chonky Jackal. I don't know. That doesn't look like it's a customized thing. Maybe it's just a wrong mold? I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Either that or they edited it out in post.
It could be edited. Very well.
But I do like the overall look. I like the addition of the red and white and yellow carbine. I think that really fits well with the figure. I don't know, because the very first picture makes him look tiny, like so squat. But I do like the parts usage, and I like the overall look. So I think this one's a 7 for me, personally.
Yeah. Honestly, the parts usage here is pretty darn good, and that alone, and the fact that it's a Jackal, bumps this to a 9 from me because of that in particular. Like, that's just, it's a good use of parts. And actually, I think that the chest plate is put on over top of his other Jackal chest plate, which is pretty cool. Synapse is saying, wait, what about that carbine? What about it?
I think they're saying that it might be custom painted, but I'm pretty sure that came with one of the power packs.
I think. No, it wasn't a power pack. It was one of the Warzone sets. It was like the Mantis, I think. The Hannibal Mantis. The carbine, no, Synapse, the carbine is, I know for sure the carbine is official. It came with the wet work. Maybe it was Halo Heroes. No, it's blue wetwork, so it would have been in one of the Warzone sets. So yeah. The Chonkle gets a 9 from me.
Okay.
Next one comes from Sock Cat, and he's made a makeshift arbiter using the armor from the anniversary arbiter. It looks like a bit of Atriox as well, and then put it on top of a regular elite to make himself a more normal arbiter. Not bad. I've seen other people do swaps like that. Not bad. I think not a ton going on, so it's a pretty easy 5 from me because it looks really good, but creativity is like there was a whole ton that had to be involved.
Yeah. I think this is more like in the vein of trying to get it to look more screen accurate. And not so much being creative. Like, it looks good, but I don't think the creativity part is there for me, so I think I can agree with you with the 5.
Nice. Oh, look. I know Scran's in the chat. So we have Scranman 69. We have a elite. Wait, what is happening? Oh, never mind. I saw his helmet and I thought it was glue on the chest plate. This is I think it was a blind. No, sorry, it was a drop pod elite with the mongoose elite, I think. UN just saying 11 to like everything. I do like the blue and the brown a lot. Asymmetry, I think, works pretty well. The full like skin tone arm and then the full not skin tone arm throws me a little bit. I think having the armor on the skin tone arm, if you took that off, it would have looked maybe better, but then the color would have been not balanced right. So maybe I would have probably just put the black Under Armour there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That might
So
just
what
be me
this?
nitpicking.
I don't know if this is what they were trying to go for, but it looks like an elite that has like mud on him.
Yeah, I actually could see that.
Or like partially, like the first picture that I saw, I thought he was supposed to be like flood infected, but looking past it, it looks more like mud, which I appreciate. Like that looks good, if that's what he was going for. But yeah, I think I agree with you with the arm. I don't know if I fully agree with the shoulder being left on there. I feel like if it was taken off, it would look a little bit better. But overall, like the color scheme, and the overall parts usage, I think this one's like a 7 or an 8 for me.
Yeah, that's kind of. I was hovering around a 7. Like, I honestly would probably give this a 6.5 if I could, but because I think that the mix is nice, the colors are nice, even though I don't fully agree with the balancing, I'll also go with a 7. Synapse says the brown doesn't match in his opinion. Oh, Imagine Art's in the chat. Welcome. Okay, cool. The next one is from Ramen. This is an assassin. Oh, blue and silver. This is not a mix we see a ton. We've got the Gek figure used again. That's a very common elite, so I'm kind of glad to see people using it and doing so many different things with it. We've got the jump pack. We've got like the Spartan shoulders. The silver color balancing looks nice to me.
Right.
This is solid. This is very solid.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I feel like it's kind of giving me like Elite Ranger vibes. Really like. And it also feels grounded to like the Covenant. Like I could totally see this in like Halo 2 or 3. But yeah, I definitely like the silver and the blue. It all works pretty well together. I like the addition of the jump pack. And then the helmet is really nice too. I think this one's an 8 for me.
That's
Solid
exactly
8.
kind of what I was thinking. Yo, Imagine Art with the $2. He says I should do some more swaps. Pop and swaps are like the best way to do customs. So yes, you should. Do it. And post them somewhere because seeing pop and swaps is awesome.
Especially
the next one comes
from
Yorick? What were you going to say?
I said especially during a time when Mega's not really releasing too much Halo stuff.
Yeah.
It's nice to see some new stuff using old stuff. So definitely share it and just do it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, so the next one's from Yorick Bricks. And this is really interesting because we've got the Show Elite lower legs, Fallen Captain shoulders, which is interesting. And then like Mongoose, I think that's a Mongoose Elite.
Yeah.
As the base. And then he's got, I think that's a Masters of the Universe bracer on. That's the asymmetry. Like it's a little busy to my eye because of the flared out shoulder.
Yeah.
But that being said, it is really interesting and it's a good use of parts. But yeah, the busyness to me makes this a pretty easy 7. Like 7 was pretty much my first thought when I saw this one.
Yeah, I agree with you. At first glance, I thought that shoulder pad was put on wrong or like misprinted. Because it kind of like juts out and it kind of stands out on the figure because it takes away from the fact that there's different like legs and then like the forearms, like you were mentioning. Because at first glance, like it looks like a regular Elite with a messed up shoulder pad.
Yeah.
But upon like looking at it further, it shows that there's a lot more going on. But I, like you said, that shoulder pad kind of takes it out of like the overall figure, and I think I would be inclined to agree with your 7.
Honestly, I think it would be great if that flared shoulder was mirrored.
Yeah, for sure. On
So
both arms,
yeah, it's just the asymmetry actually works against the figure in this case. Imagine Art says he likes the fallen captain's shoulders, and UN says 7, no hope. Okay, this one caused a bit of controversy at first. This comes from Wicked Gun 708. This is different. This is using it's the Oceanic Spartan Halo Heroes figure mixed with black Zealot and then War Machine's chest plate or back plate, but it's put on in a very sus way that might be bending it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Also, they use the chest plate backwards. Lot going on, really interesting part use, but it's confusing to my eye.
Yeah, I see what they're kind of going for with the Spartan helmet like attached to the back, but it kind of just gives me like a two-headed kind of vibe in a really weird way.
Yeah.
Like I can see what they're going for, but like with the backwards chest plate, it's kind of throwing it off for me with the Spartan helmet. Yeah, I think this one's probably a 6 for me. Like it looks cool, but it's confusing to me.
Okay. Yeah, honestly, I feel like I landed at like a 4 because I'm looking at it, I'm trying to understand what's going on, and I cannot understand what's going on. And because I can't understand what's going on, I don't know if pieces are being actually bent to make this happen. So that kind of knocks it a bit down for me. But then also, the purple is a lot paired with the rest of the detail going on. So yeah, that kind of lands me at a 4. Synapse said if there was a purple energy sword, it would be a 6 or 7. That is true. We've seen purple all this time, and then the guy that has the most purple on him is using the green sword. It was kind of interesting. Then Crazy Grunt 2000. We have a... Oh, is this Honor Guard? Oh, yeah, it's an Honor Guard pop and swap. It's really hard to tell actually what the... Oh, here we go. We do have one. So it looks like it's the new Honor Guard with a swapped lower arm and lower leg setup going here.
Yeah.
I think it looks good, but this is another one of those ones that feels like a slight upgrade to a slight upgrade. So I would say a 5 because it's an upgrade and it looks nice, but it also doesn't scream originality to me.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I do like the addition of the gray, but having them side by side with the actual version of the figure, there's not too much different. So I would probably say it's a 5 as well.
Yeah. Oh, Crazy Grunt's actually in the chat. He said it's the old Honor Guard. Also, Imagine Art with the $5 this time. Dude, that's awesome. Also, he says, can't wait to play again sometime. Yeah, we do need to play again sometime. I've actually been playing Helldivers more than I've been playing Halo lately, and it makes switching over to Halo feel very weird, and I have to like reacclimate to Halo's controls. He said he just got the Mayhem set in the mail. Everybody's getting the multiplayer Mayhem set, and it feels good to see it actually happening after so long.
Yeah. And I really like the fact that people could actually get their hands on it without it selling out immediately. So that's nice too.
Yeah, it's actually just up for order right now. You can just straight up go and buy a copy. Like, the whole limited pre-order was, I think, a bad idea, and I'm glad they did away with it.
For sure. For sure.
So the next one comes from Get Shreked. And this is really cool to me because this is leaning full on into the asymmetry in a really interesting way. We've got the gold from the Heretic Elite. We have the Ultra, and he's got a leg strap with the knife. Also, MJF Productions said I called Helldivers a ripoff. It is technically a ripoff if you want to call it that way, but that was mostly in jest. Yeah, also the use of the lock helmet on that shoulder with the brute kind of look. I don't know. I'm really digging it. This one is a quick 8 from me.
I like it too. I don't know if I like the gold with the red with the silver. Like it feels a little bit off to me.
Yeah, there is a lot.
I do think that it's executed very well, though. I really like the shoulder pad with the helmet on it. But it's not my cup of tea. But I can appreciate like the thought and the work that went into it. So I think this one's probably going to land at a 7 for me.
Nice. Yeah, that's solid. Oh, Chonky Chief is heading out. Thank you for stopping by, Chonky. We'll give you a chance at some point to do your best cursed pop and swaps because I want to do a cursed pop and swap contest. Next one is from Bagged Coleslaw Ranch Girl, which that name it used to be just Bagged Ranch Girl. Now it's got coleslaw in the name. This is interesting. We have the Elite Warlord popped with the Halo 5 Arbiter, I think. I think that's what that is. The gold there. And then the Halo Wars Arbiter helmet. I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know that those colors are playing well together, to be totally honest.
I think that the silver helmet sticks out a little too much for me. And the gold feet don't really vibe well with the rest of the armor, like the bright yellow armor. So it's kind of throwing off the whole look of the figure for me. I feel like if the colors weren't the way that they are, I feel like the figure could look interesting. Like the parts they work kind of well together, but with the colors and just like the way that the figure is like right now, I think this one's probably like a 4 for me.
Yeah. So if the use here for the legs and the arms had been the silver from that Halo Wars Arbiter, I think it would have meshed a lot better. Like a lot better. And then it would have really looked good. But yeah, the silver and the yellow play well together, but the gold and the yellow don't play as well together. Right. So yeah, I don't know. This feels a little bit mean, but I would honestly land this one at a 3 because it feels very disjointed to me. But like it's almost there if the colors were just a little different.
I agree.
Oh, of course, the next one from John Man is the Warlord yellow paired with the silver, which does look pretty good. However, it's not exactly the way I was thinking. I was thinking the feet and the lower arms would go with that. This makes him look a little bit like he's wearing silver shorts, like silver board shorts.
Yeah.
Which it's not a bad look. But I would say this would quickly land at a 5 for me. Just when I first look at it, that's the impression that I get. Like, it's a nice color pairing. The colors play well. The color balancing, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I feel like this entry with the last entry are kind of in the same vein of like the vibe that they give off. But I feel like this one executes it a little bit more with the color like pairing. It doesn't stand out as much as like jarring as the last one does, but I would be inclined to agree with the 5. I don't know if it works. It's almost almost there. Yeah.
Stormrave has made a active camo phasing elite, which looks pretty well done. It looks like it's Jaga. It looks like, okay, so he didn't swap the Jaga arm out, so he still got the Jaga blade arm, and then he swapped this minor onto it.
Right.
I think the Jaga arm messes this up a bit because it makes it very specific.
Right.
The rest of it looks very interesting, but the Jaga arm keeps this figure from really shining, in my opinion. I would say this one also lands at a 5.
Okay. I really like the way that this figure looks, especially in that first picture. It pops as like interesting because it kind of does work as like a phasing elite, like half active camo, half not, and he's in, like that transitioning period. I really like the way that it looks. I do agree with you with the Jaga arm, kind of throwing off the whole look of the figure. But honestly, overall, I think this is executed pretty well with the colors and like the active camo bits, so it's a 6 for me.
Nice. Oh, this next one comes from Faux Hammer, and this one is, we get to see that Halo Wars Arbiter again, but it's actually, sorry, it's not the Halo Wars Arbiter. This is the Arbiter's Quest Arbiter, pop and swap with the new Honor Guard, and it's very interesting. The shoulders clearly do not play super well with the one side of the Arbiter chest plate, just
right.
Posing wise. It's very interesting. Kind of banished. Kind of banished looking, but not bad.
Right.
This one is a pretty easy 6 from me. Clearly there's just 2 figures used here for the pop and swaps, but at the same time it did work out pretty well.
Yeah. I think I agree with you with the 6. It kind of gives me a little bit of like a Power Rangers vibe.
Well, yeah, now that you say that, I can kind of see that.
But I think that it works like for what it is. Like I think the colors work very well together. It's interesting, so I think I would give it a 6.
Nice. The Bagged Ranch Coleslaw girls in the chat said, "Thank you for the review. I didn't have much on hand, so I did what I could." The reason she said the reason I didn't use the Halo Wars Arbiter bodies because the helmet was the only thing that wasn't painted. Okay, that makes sense.
That
makes sense. Flex Tape the seconds has made a construction elite. Not really, but that was kind of my first thought. We have chonky Spartan shoulders that are used upside down, but I think that's purposeful to allow more movement. Halo Wars helmet, and then the rest is a elite warlord. And he's got a sword and a shield. Looks wise, very yellow, giving me Fireteam Castle vibes. But that being said, very interesting use of parts. I think that's well done. For me, that's a 7.
Yeah. I think I would give this one an 8. Just because I know you were joking when you said construction elite, but that's kind of what it's like screams to me, construction elite. Or like a security elite, like kind of like the security line of sets, like the security Cyclops and the security Warthog. That kind of gives me that vibe, and I really like those sets. So I feel like this figure kind of fits well with that theme. I think the parts usage is pretty good. I really like the addition of the upside down shoulders, so it really does it for me. So I give it an 8.
Nice. Honestly, now that you say that, having a elite or a couple elites on like a security force with humans would be a really cool idea.
Definitely.
Next one comes from Blue Team Studios, and we have one of the Diamond Armor elites pop and swap to have silver lower arms and lower legs. which is a nice mix. I like the addition of the silver.
Mm-hmm.
Got some nice pop and swap Spartans in there as well. It's a little on the basic side, but it
Yeah.
does look good.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with you. It does look pretty basic, but the colors work. I would say this is probably a 5 in
Mm-hmm.
terms of a rating, just because it is a little bit basic, but it works very well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, this has nothing to do with the figure itself, but the fact that the elite's legs are posed like straight up and down is very unnerving to me.
It gives me a he's just standing there menacingly kind of vibe. I think for me this is a 6 just because that elite, it feels like that silver is what that elite was missing in terms
Mm-hmm.
of just like the color wise. But yeah, it's basic enough that I don't feel like I can give it much more than that.
For sure.
Let's see.
Well, this next one is interesting.
What do we have? Oh my word. What is this?
Cursed is what it is.
What? I thought Chonky left. I thought we were getting away with no. Okay, I have to say the second one, the dude holding the helmet, he he's kind of. I don't know. I really don't know. UN says too many zeros on on his rating. I kind of actually like what's going on here a little bit with the little guy. He looks
Right.
like a different species. I almost want to see him wearing that helmet. But at the same time, that second one is so cursed.
Yeah.
I will give this. I'm going to give this a frog out of 10 because I don't feel like I can rate it properly because it's not trying to actually enter the contest.
Yeah. I mean, Zach himself gave himself an X, so I don't think he actually wanted to be entered in
He
this.
did. He disqualified himself. Okay, that's interesting.
But I agree with you with the second one. The second one is kind of working for me a little bit, but that first one is nightmare fuel for sure.
Yeah, that's very, very weird. The next one comes from Ruka Sucks. We have an air assault close quarters specialist elite. Very similar to that other guy we saw with the jump pack, but he's got different colors this time around. It works pretty well.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel groundbreaking to me. There is some asymmetry going on that I'm actually not sure about that looks almost accidental. But I don't know.
I think the only thing that throws it off for me is the helmet that they chose.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it entirely fits with the vibe of the rest of the figure. I think the parts work pretty well though, aside from the head. So I'd probably give this one a 6.
That's actually right where I was at, was a 6 as well. Oh my gosh. What is this? Actually, what is this? Well, that's an interesting way to use the wing pieces. Everybody's saying 10 or 9. Unless it's for the other one. Beans mod. What? This also gets a frog out of 10.
Okay.
I don't know. How... Dude, how are we supposed to rate these things? When the curse contest rolls around, there is going to be no shortage of entries, I am sure.
Oh,
This
absolutely.
is yeah.
Something.
It
It is
is
something.
indeed. It is indeed something. Patch 5 has entered a grunt that looks like he came straight out of the blind bags. That's the. He come from a specific. He might have swapped the skin, but honestly, this feels very low effort to me.
Yeah.
That's
I'm almost more inclined to like that marine more than the actual grunt itself.
the marine is a nice head swap. Honestly, this is like a 2.
Yeah.
Do I even
I
have a
mean,
2?
I can see what they were going for. Like, this does look a little bit more accurate to the CE grunt, but in terms of like pop and swapness and like creativity, it's pretty low. Probably a 2 for me as well.
Yeah, it's not much there. We have a warlord. Here we have another shipmaster pop and swap, but this time there's actually things going on. It has the lights, leg armor, and shoulder armor, and then some red lower legs and lower arms.
Mm-hmm.
It feels a bit busy to me.
Yeah.
I
I
like the
don't know if I
concept.
would have gone with those shoulder pads. I feel like they
Mm-hmm.
stand out a little bit too much for me.
Mm-hmm.
I do like the red and the black and the white color scheme. I think that really works, but I think what's really throwing me off is the shoulder pads.
Yeah,
Um, so I would probably give this one, I would say a 6.
I landed at a 5. That's where I'm landing. Honestly, it's more for me the fact that there's the gold on the thighs and the shoulders. That to me is an extra color that doesn't need to be there.
Right.
Um, Imagine Art says, "Can I make sure the cursed one is on a Saturday?" I have no idea. Um, that's for the future. This next one is a heavy heretic elite. Wow, there's a lot
Interesting.
going on here.
Yeah.
Ooh. I like the idea of putting a helmet on with the breather, but there's
Mhm.
no more of that maroon to match.
Yeah.
It's a
I feel
lot.
yeah, I feel like if the color was a little bit closer to the rest of like the combat harness, I feel like the helmet on top could work, but as is, it kind of just looks like there's a butterfly on his head.
Mm-hmm. UN in
Um,
the chat said it's a pirate hat. I can
but
kind of see that.
honestly, it kind of strikes me as like a villain from from Power Rangers.
Should be fighting that other one from earlier.
Yeah, that's kind of the vibe it's giving me. I do like the amount of different pieces that are involved in this figure, but I don't know if they work that well together.
Uh-huh.
Um, so I would probably give this one a 4.
That's where I was too, because like parts usage creativity is there, but balancing thought isn't there. And also the random addition of the Jaga arm, like I understand they were going for the more silver, but at the same time, it's a bit much.
For sure.
The next one is from Rumbly Camera 632. Interesting. It's hard to see. I'm gonna have to zoom in on this. So
Yeah.
Halo Wars Arbiter with the Elite Warlord from the tank, some Banished shoulders, and he's using the shoulders on the forearms, which is interesting. Posing is very low for this figure on that one arm.
Yeah.
The arms being so thick is throwing me off a little bit because of it makes him have like almost sweater look.
Yeah.
But that being said, color wise is pretty good. I think this one's a quick 6 from me.
Yeah, I'd probably give this one a 5. I don't know why, but the fuel rod cannon on his back is really kind of throwing off the whole look of the figure
Yeah,
for me.
it
Um,
is.
but I do kind of like the bulkiness going on in the chest area and like the forearms, but I don't know if it was executed well enough. So it probably gets I said 5, right? Is what I said.
Yeah, it's a little skinny on the bottom. So yeah, maybe brute leg armor would have helped there. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting idea. From this one's from you, just you. That's the username. Can I actually see this? Okay, now I can kind of see it. It's very similar to the Silent Shadow that we saw earlier, with a little bit of a different vibe going on. It's very hard to actually see what's going on, though, to be totally honest.
Yeah, it's very dark.
It looks like kind of the same idea with, I think those are shoulders on, or like shoulder pads on the forearms, but I can barely see it. It's so hard to see. It's so hard to see. I would say
I like
6.
the silhouette. I like the silhouette that it gives off. But I can't really tell what's going on. I don't know if it's the coloring of the figure or the lighting, but it's just really hard to see any real details in the figure itself.
Yeah.
But I think like the outline of it looks pretty decent, so I would probably give it a 5.
Yeah, that's solid. Also, I think that's a wrecked jackrabbit in the background. So this next one comes from Chase, and he's a Special Forces Flood Exterminator Elite. This is cool.
Oh, I dig it.
Oh, this is smart. This is really smart to me. Wait, is that an arm on his... There's an arm jammed into the hollow place on the fuel tank to hold his flamethrower on his back.
Oh, yes, there is.
Well, what do you know? I would not have thought to use it that way.
I mean, it's creative.
It is very creative. I like the use of the breather here, because it's like, if he's going in for the flood, he needs to have the protection. Honestly, creativity-wise, I think this is one of the most creative we've seen so far, and this one's getting a 9 from me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I really like that the colors work. I really like the concept of the figure. It kind of gives me like a Halo 3 Elite vibe. I don't know why. But I really like the parts usage, the creative use of the arm to keep everything together. I think this is a pretty solid entry. And I'll meet you right there at a 9.
Yeah,
good job.
That's very well done. Very well done. Oh, we have from Tone to Tone. We have a brute. Like I guess he's a brute captain kind of a thing. It's the blind bag brute, but he's got ODST shoulders and a fallen captain's cape. And then he's got like a grenade belt slung over his shoulder. Imagine Art is leaving. Thank you for stopping by. Good luck on your cleaning. For this pop and swap, this doesn't seem like it's got a lot of actual popping and swapping going on, because it's some shoulder swaps and additions and whatnot. Looks wise, it's really good though, and it feels very brute-like. So it feels like this is a quick. Actually, maybe it's not so quick. I think it's a 7. I want to bump it to an 8 just because I love how this looks, but at the same time, there's not a ton of popping and swapping happening.
Right. You said 7. I think I'll meet you there. It kind of gives me like a Hellboy kind of vibe, and I kind of dig that. But like you said,
I can actually see that. I think it's the cape that does it.
Yeah. But like you said, there's not really much popping. It's more like additions, but with that being said, it's done pretty well. So I think a 7 is more than fair for this guy.
Mm-hmm. This next one comes from Vision _ MCX, and we've got another Ultra pop and swap. I believe that's the Arbiter's Quest shoulders. Let me just zoom in. That's what it looks like. Arbiter's Quest shoulders. This is another one that feels a little basic to me. I like it, but it feels basic to me.
Yeah. I would probably give this one a 6, just because it is, like you said, a little bit basic, but I think the overall look of the Elite is improved. So yeah, I would probably give this one a solid 6.
I land at a 5 for that one. So that's where there's so many reactions. What in the world? What is this?
Timmy the Destroyer.
Oh my word. Why do I only ever see profit pieces used in cursed pop and swaps? Like, this is another frog out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, whew, I am actually scared for when I do the cursed pop and swap contest, because I think everybody's going to go after that goal with a vengeance, and it's going to just be pure insanity for the entire time that I'm looking at the entries. Oh. Well, this next one comes from Chieftain Ithorium, and we have I guess this is a captain, and there's a bunch of lore for it, which you guys can read. But the undersuit is purple mixed with the dark blue. It kind of is really cool.
Yeah. I like the way that this looks. It almost looks painted, but it's not. I can tell that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
But just like the undersuit makes it look that way. But I really like the different shades of blue. Yeah, I like this figure a lot, actually. I think this one's a solid 8.
Yeah, I was thinking 8 too. Yeah, that's the Arbiter's undersuit. Oh, hey, Stealthy 1140 is in the chat. Welcome. Yeah, the low contrast between the armor and the undersuit really works in that case. The next one comes from Droid's Army. We have another Ultra swap. Why is one of the shoulders upside down? I always see that like instantly. Lots of Ultra pop and swaps. I guess people like their Ultras. The addition of the gold is nice. I feel like it changes the figure a whole ton, but it is nice. So I think this one would be a quick 5.
Let me see. Okay. At first glance, I thought the yellow pieces were flesh toned, so that kind of threw me for a loop. But looking at it, I really do like the gray and the yellow look. But that being said, I don't know if the armor itself is improved in any way with the color swap, so I would probably give it a 5.
Yeah, it's like the cool idea, very solid, but it isn't groundbreaking. We have another Chonkle, or as Caboose calls it, the Jackal. It's another elite body with some Spartan parts. This one feels less chonky to me.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing. Like, it's not overly chonk.
I honestly feel like the chonkier Chonkle worked better.
Let's see.
Just a bit, in my opinion. Kiggyar pop and swap up next. Yep, that's what we're on now. It's good. I like the use of, like, I think there's red undersuit there, which is nice spot of color in otherwise a very blue pop and swap. I think this one lands at like a 6 for me. The chonkiness is a little lower than I would like, but it's not bad.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the. I don't know why I keep bringing up the Halo show, but it kind of gives me the vibes of the Jackals in that show, just a little bit beefier.
Yeah, actually, yeah, you're right.
So I like it. So I would probably give it a 6 as well.
Nice. The next one is from UN himself. This is a Spartan killer. Oh, interesting. Oh, wait, what? Hang on. He's using Ezio's waist piece as like a scarf.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool. The reds of the legs and the arms aren't meshing exactly, but it's not bad. The scarf is interesting. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, though, the backpack does not do the elite any favors here, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the idea of the scarf. Like, it doesn't scream out like it shouldn't be there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it works for what it is. I think there's a little bit too much red for my liking. I feel like a little bit more gold on maybe like the forearms, or like the lower legs would probably make this look a little bit better. So I'm probably leaning towards like a 6 for this one.
I was gonna say mine is a 7. I would say the scarf usage is what really like does it for me. Why is Alpha Squad? Why are you spamming Chonk Elite? I don't know if there's any Chonky Elites. Also, just Animal Crossing sets in the background. That's actually the first time I've really seen them in a photo. That's kind of cool. From Yeti, first of all, what is this second pop and swap here? I don't like that at all. But this is cool. This is actually very cool. Old Elite pilot helmet. Got some blue swapped on to help with the different colors. And the printed chest plate. Oh, and he's did a different back plate too. Mm-hmm. This is so well done. It almost just looks like a normal pilot. But there's no such thing as a new articulation pilot. This feels like a 9 to me.
Yeah, I was gonna be right there with you. Like the old pilot head doesn't stand out as an old piece to me on this figure. Like it fits very well. I like the blue and red with the silver accent on the chest. So I would probably go right up to a 9 as well. I think this is pretty well done, honestly.
Yeah, very good. This next one comes from Euralian Let Vol. Wow. There's a lot happening here.
For sure.
There's a lot happening, but the more I look at it, the more I can kind of understand what I'm seeing.
Right. I really like the use of the Honor Guard shoulder pads as like blade gauntlets. I think that's really fun. I've never really seen that part used like that before.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that's throwing me off about this is the fact that those pieces are red on a primarily all black figure.
Yeah.
I feel like if there was more accents of red, like on the Elite himself, I think this would work a little bit better. With that being said, I think the creativity with the forearms probably bumps it to like a 7 for me.
Honestly, I was in the pretty much spot on there. I would almost bump it to a 7.5, but I don't think it's enough for me to bump that 0.5 up to an 8.
Right. But I really have to commend the use of the shoulder pads because I've never seen them used that way, and it's really interesting.
Yeah, that is a smart idea. Stealthy says we need some new art pilots. We kind of do. We haven't gotten them at all.
For sure.
Oh, Blue Brick says if they had a Light of St. Helios and used that, that would work better. Yeah, I think I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think
This,
the white would have looked a little bit better.
yeah, I think it would have matched better with the markings on the forehead.
For sure.
This comes from Daylander, and this is a pop and swapped elite sword bearer. Purple and blue, very sleek. Also using fallen captain hands. Not groundbreaking, but solid, and it looks very Covenant-esque. So I would give this one a 7 as well.
Yeah, I was right there with you.
I was almost going to do a 6, but the use of the fallen captain forearms and hands bumps it up.
Yeah, I think those hands are really sleek, and it just screams like elite. I don't know why they don't give us those hands for elites.
I don't know.
I feel like that should be an option, but I really like the way that the helmet and the body armor look. It looks natural, so I think it's a 7.
Yeah, it does. Oh, hey, Muto is next. He's done an elite honor guard without the ceremonial helmet. Basically, the greetings elite.
Right.
Which, in terms of actual pop and swapping, there's not a ton happening here. The face at the end. It's kind of funny, and it does look good. It makes me think of the honor guards from Halo Wars, the ones that Red Team fought. I think it would land at a 4 for me, not because it looks bad, but because there's a helmet swap happening, and that's about it.
Yeah. I think for the memes, it's executed pretty well. But in terms of like the competition itself, it's probably like a 3 for me, just because there's not too much going on. I think it's just the swapped out shoulder pads and the the leg thigh pieces.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would probably give this one a 3. But I love the commitment to the meme.
He even attached the video clip. It's funny. Okay, so this next one comes from JJ12 Studios, and my first thought was either Furno from Hero Factory or Tahoe from Bionicle with this color scheme. That was like my instant thought. And honestly, this looks fantastic, except for the silver. The silver kind of messes it up.
Yeah.
It's so close. It's so close to being really good. Like the colors are meshing so well up until that that silver.
Yeah. I really like the gold and red combination. It matches pretty well together. But I think the silver groin piece kind of throws it off for me as well.
I could almost let the print on the chest slide.
Yeah.
But it's the brighter silver of the groin piece that is like, I don't know about that.
I would probably give this one a solid 6.
That's actually exactly where I was. It was a 6. Muto said, well, at least I made you smile, so it was worth it. Barrett said, unfortunately, I don't own any Covenant figures, just Banished, so I was unable to enter. See, this is the thing, is like a lot of the Banished figures do use Covenant pieces, so it would be possible.
For sure. For sure.
So here's another, this is from Chet Rippo. This is another one of those using the anniversary arbiters to make a full arbiter, which is a cool idea. It's another upgrade more so than anything else. So I would say it lands at a 4 in terms of like not a ton of creativity. Very effective.
Yeah.
Looks good, but not a ton of creativity.
Yeah. Definitely, yeah. It's a good looking figure, but in terms of the point of the competition, I feel like, yeah, it's probably a 4.
Yeah. This next one comes from Thumbtoe, and this is Geeple Glorp the Butcher. Why does he look like he's trying to give me a hug? That's too cursed. It looks like he actually tried to make this like a thing, though. Like, it doesn't feel like just a throwaway. But at the same time, it is just swapped arms and legs. This one feels like a 3 to me.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree. Like, part of me wants to say that it kind of sort of works, but in terms of like creativity, it's just kind of a swapped body, or a swapped arms and legs. But yeah, I would say it's probably a 3 for me.
Honestly, if Thumbtoe had removed the middle section of those elite legs, and put just the foot onto that top piece, that would have been better. A lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Spartan for Jesus says the waist piece. Yeah, he didn't give any covering there. We're gonna move on now before you start looking too intently. Oh, wait a minute. We already looked at Reginoid Fingleton's entry. We did the brute. And I think that was the brute that looked like the Chieftain from ODST, and we judged it. So we're not going to judge this one. I just want to look at it real quick. It's a drone, and he's got added chunky armor onto his arms, which is kind of a cool idea.
Yeah, it's not something that you would expect someone to do, so I appreciate the execution on it.
Yeah. I'm not going to give it a rating, though, because we did already rate his other one, and it was pretty well done.
For sure.
We got another Warlord. I can't tell what's happening. I think it's blue. I think he's got blue, but I can barely tell the colors. The backpack's nice. It doesn't strike me. Oh, this is from Aranivore. It doesn't strike me as like a standout to me. I would say it's like a 5.
Yeah. It kind of feels like he's not wearing pants.
A little bit, yeah, because he's got the darker skin.
Yeah. So I would probably give this one, like, I like the look, surprisingly. Like, I like the body. I think the only thing that's really throwing me off is the fact that he doesn't really have any leg armor. It appears like he doesn't have any leg armor. But I would probably give this one a 6.
Yeah, not bad. Barrett says drone pop and swaps are kind of rare. Yeah, we don't see that very often. There's just not many options for that. Oh, this is interesting. This is a floodified honor guard, and it's using some flood pieces, which I don't. That's interesting. They stuck shoulders onto that hand, but at the same time, it's also using just like the metallic-y colored armor from that marine from the Forge Hog, and then grunt arms and then just a hand to make it look more out of place.
Yeah.
This feels very clever to me.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. Like, for a flood custom that's not using like molding new pieces or like altering pieces, I think this is done pretty well. I like the addition of like the forge shoulder piece to make it look like a flood infected piece of armor. I think the parts usage here is pretty clever, so I would probably give this a 9.
That's where I was as well. That is where I was as well. The use of the marine parts is especially clever to me because that new arm, the new infected arm from the floodgate, is that metallic color, so it's pretty much perfect.
Right.
This next one, wait, didn't we look at one from Zach Brewer? Oh, is this like a legitimate entry now? Well, that's confusing. And that's technically breaking the rules, so we will have to pass on this one. There were supposed to be only one entry per person here, and the first one that we come to gets judged. So, unfortunately, that means that this one's disqualified. Looks-wise, though, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Pretty interesting. This next one is Sangheli Abductor 24. This is an anti-armor elite. Sort of Sangheli's figure with some added green. Not a ton of swapping going on here. I do like the green and the orange I think that's a 5.
Yeah. I would say that there's not too much going on in terms of this figure. But the changes don't take away from the figure, so yeah, I think a 5 is fair.
Leland H. Checker the Slayer. He's Aatrox's brother that was almost killed, and then Aatrox saved him, and now he's not weak. This is interesting because we've got some of that purpley blue, and then some of that teal, and then some darker purple. It's a lot of purpley colors.
Yeah.
It
almost looks like he has a kind of gradient going on.
Yeah, he does a bit.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either, but I think I don't look at it and it doesn't flow to me super nicely, but I also am not looking at it and going, oh, that's really bad.
Yeah. Probably like a 4?
I'm personally landing at a 5 because I think the effort was done well, but yeah, it doesn't flow super well. Barrett says he wish he had some of those Charlie Squad Marines. Was it? No, that wasn't Charlie. That was why is the name going right out of my head? The Marine pack that everybody wants. Yankee Squad. That's right. It was Yankee. I don't think we have Charlie Squad. Spartan for Jesus has entered Frank the Yeller, which is he's a red grunt who kind of looks like he stole Yap Yap's crown, which is a bad idea because Yap Yap will come for you if you try to crown yourself Grunt King.
Definitely.
Not a ton going on. It's kind of funny. Not a ton going on. This feels like a 4.
There's not a ton going on, but it works for me. Like I like the way that this figure looks. It's really simple, but it's effective. But I would say in terms of like creativity and like the nature of the pop and swap, it's probably a 4.
We're almost through. There's a handful more. There's one that I'm really looking forward. Oh, we're getting close. This comes from Neko. This is a Brute Honor Guard, which we do not have. This is very effective. Again, another very simple swap, but it's very effective. That if you want to make a Brute Honor Guard, this would be the way to do it right now.
For sure.
That being said, I think this one's a 7 from me.
Yeah, I think probably closer to an 8 for me, just because I want a Brute Honor Guard so badly.
Yeah.
And I really hope that set, that Halo 2 anniversary set that got leaked, or not leaked, but the listing for it got put up. I hope that there's an elite or Brute Honor Guard in there. But I think that this figure is executed really well. It is trying to emulate something from the game, but it's doing so in a way that's like really creative with the parts usage and like the look. So I think an 8 for me.
Nice. Yeah. That is something I hadn't thought of. We could see a Brute Honor Guard. We never know. They did a Brute Flood form. Okay, Zog. This is the Peps Elite, or the HCS Winter coding on an Elite. And I think this is so cool. This to me is perfect. Especially seeing him next to the Spartan. This is good.
Yeah. I like this. I like it a lot. I think this is similar to an entry that we saw earlier where it was kind of giving Pepsi Elite vibes, but I think this iteration of it is a lot more grounded and just flows a lot better. I would probably give this a 9.
Yeah, honestly, this one for me is the first 10 that I've seen.
Okay.
Oh, there's too many reactions again. I need to purge the reactions. Okay, now we can actually add the reactions to it. Yeah, it's so simple. Like the parts use it's a simple thing to do this, but it just works so well. And even next to the Spartan who has all the extra print, the Elite still works really well. Which leads me to go, okay, well, what other Halo Infinite coatings could be made on elites. Like, that's pretty cool. And speaking of
Yeah.
that, Miles Enchilada has done the Northwest Sky coating, which I actually have the pop and swap. This only exists in pop and swap form. But yeah, he's done a Northwest Sky elite, which is also brilliant to me. Like, that's pretty much perfect. I don't know if it's quite as perfect as the Peps elite, but it's a very quick 9 for me.
Okay. So I'm not too familiar with the infinite coatings, so I don't really know how accurate this is to the actual coating itself. But I like the way that it looks. I feel like it's simple yet effective, and it probably looks accurate to the coating, so I'd probably give it an 8.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty close. It's about as close as you could get to it. This next one is from El Pan Tostado. Is a H3 aesthetic, but with Halo 2 shoulders, because Mega has no aesthetic ones. So actually, the very first thing, seeing the comparison, heavy Marine, Halo 4 heavy Marine shoulders would have been perfect there. But this is pretty good.
Yeah, I think it matches the source material pretty well. I think the use of parts is actually pretty decent for what we have. The head does strike me as a little small, but that's not the entrance fault. But I think that it captures the aesthetic very well. So I would probably give this a 8.
I think I'm with you on the 8. What I would have done is I would have kept the forearms red, or I would have swapped the forearms to red, if possible, and then use the Halo 4 heavy Marine shoulders, because here, the people in the chat will be able to see if it'll focus. Cover up my face. There, please focus. Come on. Yeah, those shoulders right there. They've got the markings, or like the engraving details that is necessary. And then yeah, swap that out. But that being said, yeah, an 8 I think is where it's at for this one. It's very good use of a head of a figure that Mega has never done another one of, which is kind of sad. Speaking of, here, this is another one I'm going to have to purge the reactions for, because I'm not going to be able to react. I'll remove that. Remove a couple. This is from Goonie, and this is a Halo 3 Jump Pack Brute. And this is using an old articulation head. And I'm not sure what else was swapped exactly. Where did wait, is that a blue jump pack?
It is, I think.
I didn't know.
Unless it's edited, but I'm pretty sure it's blue.
I didn't know we had one of those. Is that old? Maybe it's an old piece.
It could be old.
There's some parts from Halo Infinite era stuff. There's some Halo 3 stuff. It looks good. I will say the Brute's neck looks incredibly thick.
I enjoy the way that this figure looks. I think the blending of the old articulation head with the new art body, I think it works pretty well. And I think it gives the vibe of a jump pack brute pretty well. And I really enjoy the edited photos.
Yeah, they look good. Synapse is heading out. Thanks for stopping by, Synapse.
Have a good one.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of the old Mega Brute heads, but I do think it was utilized pretty well here.
Yeah.
The blue is obviously different, but it's close enough. The photos are shot well. I feel like this is another 8 in terms of old articulation parts usage.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I think this one was done pretty well. I enjoyed this one a lot.
The photos are really nice to look at as well. Cracks has done a... What is this? It's a chonky... Ungly brute. So like not brute like the species, but brute as in the I don't.
I don't hate
Creativity.
it.
There's a lot of creativity there.
Yeah.
I will
I don't
say
hate it. I
I
do
will
not
say
hate it.
7 for creativity. It doesn't feel like it was trying to be cursed. It feels like this actually.
Yeah.
The one thing I
I
will say is the tan shoulders and forearms to his gray skin tone is a little weird.
yeah. I feel like if there was more gray throughout for the actual like body, I feel like it would look a little bit better. But honestly, I don't hate this as much as I probably should. So I think it's also a 7.
That's funny. Oh, Aku Bricks, another aesthetic. However you say that. This color pairing to me feels even better than the last one.
I agree.
Like this one feels really good.
Yeah, this almost feels official.
It does. The thing that throws me a little bit, but this is only a little bit, the silver legs, but it's not throwing me as much as it should because of the white spikes on the head, and the silver and the white look close enough together to like kind of play well there. Honestly, this feels like another 10 to me. The gray and the red pair brilliantly.
Yeah. I think this is my first 10, but I think this is a very well-deserved 10. I really like the way that this figure looks.
It's solid.
Definitely.
Oh, Barrett says every piece for the chonky grunt was from the Storm Covenant set. So I actually now understand why the arms were that way. Okay, Poofy has made another Ultra that I don't really understand.
A lot going on.
It's not bad. Like my brain says this is bad, but the more I look at it, I go, it's not that bad.
Yeah. So the color scheme kind of gives me like a prototype figure kind of vibe.
Yes, that's exactly what it looks like.
Which I don't hate. I think that's kind of creative. But I don't know if...
It's just a lot. It's a lot. It's a 5 for me, I think. I want to dislike it, but I can't dislike it because something about it kind of works, but it is still very much chaotic.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think I'm right there with you with the 5.
This next one comes from Sentient Skeleton, and this is another elite who has got Mjolnir armor, although from this... So apparently this is another female, but also this is not a UNSC ally. This is just literally this armor was stolen. Interesting. Another knife thing. Another bald elite, though. It feels much like what we have seen. It's not bad, but it's much like what we have seen.
Yeah. I feel like the thing that takes away from it the most, like I've mentioned with the previous, is the lack of a helmet. The aesthetic of the figure I really like, though. It kind of gives me the vibe of like a Covenant, a Separatist Covenant.
With the green.
Yeah. But I feel like to really put this over the top, a helmet would be needed in this situation.
Yeah.
So I would probably give it a solid 6.
That's where I was at too. I think the silver ultra helmet maybe would have been really good here. We don't have an elite in that color green, which is a shame. That is actually the only figure that uses that shade of green, which is a bummer because it's a really nice green. But yeah, that would have been good. Blue Brick says Lex Luthor if he was an elite. It would be that right there. Doc Ock has made a General Brute. This is a Warcraft figure, which we don't see these guys very much anymore.
Right.
And he's got a Brute head on it. Not a lot going on. Not a lot.
I like the way that it looks, though. Like the body shape and like the ceremonial like getup is kind of doing it for me. The only thing that really throws me off is the green hands.
The green hands.
Yeah. But I think overall, like in terms of like creative parts usage, not so much parts, but like body, I guess. I think it gives it like probably like a 6 for me. I feel like this is something that could be seen in like the Halo universe. Like it fits the vibe, but I feel like a little bit more could have been done.
This for me is going to land at a 5. I think the green hands could have been remedied by popping those arms to old articulation brute arms to make it look more like have a more brute touch to it.
For sure.
So yeah, that's what I would have done. Well, MJF is asking what's my favorite Spartan armor. If I had to pick one, it'd probably be Mark 7.
Mine, I think mine would probably be. I really like the security Spartan.
Which variant though?
Shoot.
Because there's like the really bulbous one, and then there's the more like slimmed down one that they did later.
I don't like the bulbous one as much. I think the slimmed down one is more my speed.
Okay, I can kind of agree with that. I dislike the bulbous one quite strongly. Okay, so this is the same swap as we've seen before. This is the more accurate Shipmaster. Oh, this time he's got an honor guard shoulder. Oh, and he's got the honor guard leg. So it's a bit of a mix of the two. It does feel a little samey, which is not necessarily this. It's not necessarily Spartan Y's fault for that, because if we would have seen his first, then the other ones would have felt samey. But again, it's not a ton happening.
Right.
So this feels like a 5 to me. Like lands in the middle, looks good, doesn't. It's not groundbreaking. Again.
Yeah, I think you said basically everything I was going to say.
We're on the same page then. Darth Vadam has put a very interesting figure. This is an Elite Ultra Major, which I don't know if that was a thing. But red and purple, we don't see that mix like ever. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's striking. I like it.
It is very striking. It's very striking. Parts usage is pretty good. There's a couple different figures in there. Use of the gold sword's interesting. I feel like this is a 7 from me.
I agree.
Very striking color pairing. It's not one I see like ever.
Yeah, it kind of gives me the vibe of, it's probably the gold energy sword that does it, but it's the Mark V Spartan that came with the like 20-in-1 Scorpion.
Oh yeah.
It kind of gives me that kind of Spartan vibe to it.
Yeah, a little bit.
But I like it.
I can see that. User 2.2 has given us another Warlord pop and swap. This is mixed with the Gek figure as well as the Jackal. I feel like this Elite again suffers from the chonky arm syndrome and the thin legs. It's like, I like the mix of the blue and the gold, but the chonky arms are a little weird.
Yeah. I think the chonky arms, in addition to the really, really over-the-top headpiece, kind of throws it off for me. But it kind of, the coloring is kind of giving me the vibe of the Spartans from the new multiplayer Mayhem set.
Oh yeah, State Gold Elite.
But I dig it. I dig the color scheme, but I feel like the parts usage is a little off. So I would probably give this one like a 6.
Yeah, I think I would agree with the 6. I'm honestly not sure how to fix that, because I think removing the chunky bits on the forearms might make there not be enough blue.
Right.
And I don't know that there's thicker leg pieces to be used, so I think it just kind of Yeah, Barrett says tiny waist syndrome. It does have tiny waist syndrome. Oh, this next one, Ideal GG. This is a Zealot. This is basically, it's a smash together of an Arbiter figure from the Arbiter's Quest, the Predator figure, a Zealot, and a Brute.
I like it. I like it.
Honestly, this to me feels like what that one with the War Machine armor was trying to do.
Right.
Wait, I just realized he's ripping out a Promethean soldier's spine. That's actually kind of funny. Honestly, creativity-wise, it's not exactly my cup of tea in terms of the design. But creativity-wise, I feel like the creativity behind this figure and the way that everything blends together bumps this to a 10.
Okay. I think I'll meet you a little bit lower at a 9. I do appreciate like the creativity behind it. It's really not something that we've seen really. It's not something that you would expect someone to put together, but the way that it is, it's executed pretty well. It just doesn't strike me as something set in like the Covenant, I guess.
Yeah.
Like,
I could see that.
Motif. But I really do like the creativity behind it, so I'll probably give it a 9.
Nice. Yeah. Another thing that just to note is like I like how the arbiter pieces match the waist unit pretty much perfectly in terms of the segmenting of the armor. Okay, the next one comes from Goober. This is a captain, elite captain. Another helmetless elite. He almost suffers from the chonky arm syndrome, except his lower legs are the really chonky ones. So it's not half bad.
Right.
Again, the lack of the helmet, but the silhouette is nice, so I would say a 7.
Yeah. I would probably meet you right there at a 7. He kind of gives me Didact vibes, just the way his silhouette is.
Yeah.
With like the bald, also with the bald head. It kind of gives me like Didact vibes. So I feel like a helmet would have been beneficial here, but for what it is and the piece usage, I think it's a 7.
Yeah. Also, nice nice Gundams in the background. Your Raven Gundam over there on the far right. That's a good kit. Oh, this was really cool. I thought this was really cool. This is from Black Jazz. This is a Grunt Ranger. That we don't have Grunt Rangers, but he's taken a Hermes helmet, turned it around the other direction, and then popped the shoulders on.
Yeah, I actually like the way that the angles are working on this grunt, like the way the shoulder pieces like kind of form fit to the combat harness. And I do like the creativity behind putting that helmet on backwards. I think it works pretty well. Honestly, I think this is an 8.
I think I would even go a little higher. Personally, I'm going up to a 9 just because it's so unique. Now, the Grunt has like no posing for his arms, but it's very clever. Also, this photo of the figure of leftover parts just saying, "Yo, can I have my armor back?" is hilarious. Nice. Okay, so that's good. I honestly don't think that's a variant of a Grunt we'll ever see Mega make. So that's a very good use of that.
For sure.
A Wild Warden appeared has made. Oh, is this a straight up full old articulation elite?
It might be.
Oh, that's a Spartan torso. So it's a Spartan torso with elite legs. Interesting.
I don't recognize that helmet.
I don't either. It's one of those weird ones. Also, why are all the elites that we've seen like UNSC, like all the UNSC elites are female? Like what? That's interesting. I props for doing a old articulation pop and swap because there's not a lot that can be done there.
Right.
End result is interesting. I think because it's not like the elite head can't go down all the way, so it's like always looking up. It's a little odd to me. Old articulation figure use though, I would say this lands at a 5.
Yeah, I would probably bump it to a 6 just because it's not something that we've really seen. Like I've never seen that head. like I still can't recognize where that head is from, but I think the way that the figure flows as a whole is pretty good. Yeah, so it gets a 6 from me.
Nice. Oh, I think we have another one of those helmets. This is from Cheesy Beans Boy, and this is. Oh, interesting. Wait a minute. Oh wait, never mind. I think I'm looking at the chase plate wrong. I thought there was a painted piece. Yeah, I don't know what type of elite this is.
Yeah,
Commando elite. Interesting. It is not a bad look at all, actually. I don't know. It feels like it's done pretty well. Interesting colors, interesting armor selections. I like the use of the gold. This feels like an 8 to me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Like everything, the color choice is really good. I think the colors balance each other out pretty well. I think overall, like the figure looks pretty solid. I think the only thing that kind of throws me off is the legs. I think, or the feet. I think they're purple.
They're purple, and then there's also a purple like groin piece.
Yeah, but overall, I think
actually gonna turn that off. Okay, what were you saying? Sorry, I was switching it something so that people can't keep reacting to the messages, so I don't accidentally get confused about people adding more reactions later and me thinking that it was ours.
Right. But yeah, I think overall the figure looks pretty good. I like the use of the old articulation head, so 8.
Nice. Double Cannon Hunter. This is from Wolf and Man. This honestly looks really cool, except the spikes on the back. Like the addition of the red is too much.
Yeah, I was gonna say the exact same thing.
It's nice to see a hunter pop and swap, but I would say this one lands at probably like a 6 from me. Like it's a barely squeaks in at a 6. The red disrupts things a lot.
Yeah, I feel like they could have utilized a little bit more blue from the other hunter on like maybe the leg area.
Yeah.
And maybe, yeah, like you said, omit the red spikes. I think that doesn't really fit in with the whole aesthetic of the figure. But honestly, for creativity using a hunter, like we haven't seen, I think this is our only hunter that we've seen so far. I would probably give it a 6 as
well. We're getting very close to the bottom now. This is Cracker 8823, a brute captain. So it's the Razorback brute with the blind bag brute's head and shoulder, and I think if he had left it at that, that would have been fine. I just the red of the honor guard shoulder is not adding anything to the figure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like the thought was there to make a unique figure. I just think that the shoulder pad, not necessary, and I think maybe some more variance in the lower half of the figure would have been a little bit better. So I'd probably say like a 5 for this one.
That's where I was with a 5. Honestly, if they'd used the blind bag brute's lower legs and not done the red shoulder at all, that would have been perfect.
I also don't think I can add reactions anymore.
Oh wait, that's right. I forgot. You don't. If I hang on. I didn't think about that because I can do it since I'm an admin, but add reactions. Okay, there we go. That did not work. Okay, I'll just have to look later. Okay, Jim War 211 has a pilot elite. This is a shipmaster using some Spartan parts, and then also the old pilot helmet. Variation in the white, but that's kind of can't be helped just because of how the old pieces was. They just were a weird white.
Yeah. I honestly like this figure, like overall. It feels very Halo 3 to me, like something you would see in Halo 3. It also gives me the vibe of, I don't know if it was a blind bag pilot, but like the Arctic pilot that we got in the new articulation form.
Yeah, that's a Foxtrot series, I think.
But it gives me that, like that same aesthetic for the pilot, and I really dig it. So I think this one's an 8 for me.
This one's a 7 for me. This is gonna sound weird, but I can't see anything but Snoopy in that head.
That's fair.
Every time I look at it, I'm just like, oh, it's Snoopy. Oh wait, no, it's not. But
I hate that you said that.
Now you're never gonna be able to unsee it.
Yeah, I think it's that black dot on the
It's
face.
the black nose. If the black nose was more than just a nose, I wouldn't think that. But to be fair, I think that the Arctic UNSC pilot has a mustache, so one has a nose, the other one has a mustache. Okay, Kirich has submitted. Honestly, this doesn't look like a ton different. I think the leg armor and the shoulders have been swapped.
Yeah, I think that's it.
And I think the rest of this is just the figure from the aerial ambush. I'm not totally sure. But it feels a bit basic to me. It's not bad, but basic. So I think it lands a 5.
Yeah, I agree. It really throws me off that the blues are not the same shade. And it kind of does. It clashes a little bit for me, but it doesn't look terrible. So yeah, I'd probably give it a 5 as well.
We have Jakimbo with a Groot. So at first glance, this to me looks really good. And then when I look at it again, I realize that the print on the leg is not gold, and everything is thrown off for me because now we have red, orange, and gold all in the same figure, and not enough of the red and the orange to justify them being there.
Yeah.
So
I agree. I don't know if I like the color combination going on, but even more so with the orange on the legs, like you mentioned, I feel like it throws it off a lot for me. And then the asymmetric forearms kind of takes away from it too for me. I don't think it really works here. So I would probably give it a 5.
Yeah, I think I land at a 4. It's not... It's just a little off to me.
Yeah.
This next one comes from Matthias. This is an alternate version of Julim Dama where he did not get killed by Osiris and killed everybody but Buck. And now he has like Promethean upgraded armor and weapons. The Halo 5 Arbiter leg armor use is really good. The silver pretty much matches with the print, even though the print is like a little bit more purpley, but it's not bad. Interesting use of a green sword. He's got shield and like a spear that's made out of Lego. It's an interesting idea.
I definitely think the creativity is there. I like the parts usage. Look-wise, it looks like it could work, but it also looks like it doesn't work for me. So I'd probably have to give it like a 6.
Yeah, I think I might land at a 7. Although I am realizing he's kind of flexing the... he's got the Mongoose Outriders because those gold shoulders come from the Ultra there. I was just looking. He's up on... The gold Ultra's up on my shelf. Yeah, that's a little bit of a flex there.
Do you not have one?
No, I do. I was looking at I have one copy of this. Well, it's funny. I have one copy of the set, but I have like 4 of the brutes from that set, which is strange. But yeah, my Ultra is up on the shelf, so I was just looking at him to confirm that's where it came from. Matthew 2011 has submitted an arbiter. That's the Warthog Run arbiter, and he's got a Spartan shoulder. I think that's it. I think that's all he's got. Oh no, he's got an Ultra arm on the other side. It feels a little discombobulated to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think there's too much going on there for me. Also, the angles of the figure aren't doing it any justice.
Yeah, I'm having a hard time seeing what's actually going on.
Yeah.
Although the shot of him using the brute shot to take out that captain is pretty cool. I like that. The posing is on point.
Yeah, I like that one as well. I'd probably have to give this one probably a 6.
I think I'd land at a 5, honestly. It's just a little weird, but the posing is on point. And yeah, it's just a little strange. BA or Ba-Man 117 has an elite using a Mark IV chest plate, and then he's got a UNSC jump pack with that ammo belt stretched all the way around it, which that's not going to last very long. That being said, it looks pretty cool. I do like the asymmetry going on the one arm. I do wish that one shoulder was blue because I think that would have been cool, but the extra spot of color is nice. Yeah, I would say this one's a 7.
Yeah, I would give this one an 8. I like the parts usage. It's very unique, but it doesn't look like too out there. Like, it's kind of grounded. I do agree with the shoulder piece. I feel like if it was blue, it'd be a little bit better. But overall, I think the parts usage and like the overall look of the figure, I give it an 8.
Nice. This is the last entry. Also, Tango the Mango Spango is asking when will the voting take place. I need to basically go back through and I'm going to add together the score from the rating that we've done, and then I'm going to compile the 5 with the highest ratings, and we'll put it up for voting then. Somebody already did make a brilliant. Okay, so this last one is Zero Likes Katanas, and it is a mix of the Gek figure and the, like, what is that, Halo CE Elite or whatever. It's not a ton of popping swapping, and some of these pictures are blurry. However, also, why is there like a dead diver on the back? Sorry, that's distracting. It is it's an effective pop and swap. Very simple, not a ton of change, but it is effective. I would land that one at a 5.
Yeah, like, it looks good, but in terms of like actual popping and swapping, I feel like there's not too much going on. But it's executed well, but not very poppy and swappy. So probably a 5.
Well, dang, that was the last one. Barrett says, "How much do I want for the Mongoose Outriders Ultra?" Dude, you're better off getting somebody from the UK and buying from them, because the UK is apparently full of Mongoose Outriders now, and us in the US don't. We don't have that in the US. That just never came to the US. And the UK, of all places, has it.
Well, good for them.
Yeah, it's nice to see the UK getting some sets.
Definitely.
Okay, well, that being said, now will be when I will go back and compile the numbers, and you guys will see when the poll goes up. When it does, I will let it run for 2 days. I think 2 days would be a fair time span, and then the top 2 in the voting will be the winners. So that being said, If any of you want to check out Kev's work, I have put the link to his TikTok. What do you call it on TikTok? Page, account,
Yeah.
page. The link to his page is right there in the description, so you guys can go check that out. And yeah, keep your eyes out for that that poll, because hopefully I'll get it up tonight, and you guys can start the voting. So yeah, that being said, keep you guys eyes out, and thank you all for stopping by. Kev, did you have any closing remarks?
I would just like to thank you, Z, for having me on. I really appreciate it. It was great seeing all of your guys' submissions, some really creative stuff. Like, just keep doing it. Like, we're all in this community together to have fun, and I appreciate you having me on, and see you guys soon.
Yeah. All right.